Today I'm going to do something totally different than I usually do. I'm not going to talk about hypnosis. I'm going to teach you how to use neurolinguistic programming to improve your memory. Now I'll bet that you've had this experience or something like it. You're sitting in the living room watching TV in a comfortable chair, and suddenly you realize there's something in the kitchen you have to do. Maybe take a roast out of the freezer so that you can thaw it and have it for lunch tomorrow. Something like that. You get up, you head to the kitchen. You get in there, maybe you get a drink of water. What did I come in here for? Because you can't remember. Spend a little time trying to figure it out. You give up, you go back to the living room. Sit down in a comfortable chair again. Oh, I remember. I was going to take a roast out of the freezer. You go back in, take care of the roast, come back in. No, you're not getting senile. That's called state-dependent memory. What it means is basically that more different the two state, when you think of something and when you try to recall it, those two conditions are, the harder it's going to be to recall. I'll explain later what's behind it. But first let me give you an example, extreme example. Kid studies for a test. He's curled up on the couch with his music playing and the lights fairly low. He studies, stops studying, takes a practice test, and he aces it perfectly. So he thinks he's all set. Next day he gets into class, bright lights, quiet room, he's sitting at a desk. He freaks out because he can't remember what he studied. Same thing. It's just a case of very different situation when he tried to recall, so he couldn't recall because a lot of the cues were gone. So I'm going to show you how to do this. This won't be for the big study thing I'm talking about. This is for little things, like a roast in the kitchen, something like that. So here's what I want you to do first. There's a spot on your hand, on your wrist actually, just behind the thumb. Feels like it's designed for a finger just to fit there. That's what the spots we're going to use. What I want you to do is imagine that situation again, with one difference. You think of going to the kitchen and taking that roast out, but this time, put a little pressure on that spot or tap it, and have a little conversation with yourself. Address your unconscious mind like this. Hey, unconscious mind, this is the sort of thing I might forget once I get where I'm going. If I do, and I do this again, bring it back to me. You go into the kitchen, and sure enough, you suddenly are wondering what you're doing there. Oh, I know, I've got to take the roast out. You take the roast out, get it set to thaw. Your unconscious mind knows that's all you need, all it was needed for, so it dismisses that. Now, what is that about? It's called cross-modal anchoring. The thing is, when you are encoding memories or thoughts, everything about the situation is encoded along with the thing you're trying to remember. What you were doing, what you were hearing, how you felt. And you can't really take the couch into the kitchen when you go into the kitchen. You can take your wrist. And here's the trick. Now, it doesn't make any difference whether you remember things in the auditory mode, that is, with words, whether you talk to yourself or whether you hear them from the outside, or whether you store that as an image. Because each different function, we call them modalities, uses a different part of the brain, different circuitry. But here's what you do. As you're thinking about that thing, you tap that spot on your wrist, and you tell your unconscious mind, hey, I want you to save this memory for me and bring it back if I need it again. Now your unconscious mind's listening all the time. It monitors everything. But the thing is, when you do it that way, you're telling it, hey, pay attention to this and bring it back when I need it. And you're associating that with that thing that you really want to remember with that physical touch. You get back in there, you fire off that anchor, that's what it's called, an anchor. And that's part of the memory. When you recall part of a memory, it brings back the rest of the memory. That's really what the anchor is about. The really neat thing about it is, you can stack anchors. You can have temporary anchors like the thing about the roast. You can have permanent anchors. For example, one problem I have had in the past, I want to put a spare key to the safety deposit box in a safe place. Well, sometimes it's so safe I can't find it again. And I use that anchor. You put it in there, say, hey, unconscious mind, remember where I put this thing for me. If I have to find it and can't, and I fire this off, bring it back to me. And it'll know it will need to keep that, because you're going to keep that thing there, maybe other things there too. And you may go back there several times, so it's going to keep that. Whereas you just throw, once you've got the roast out of the freezer, it throws that particular anchor away because it doesn't need it anymore. It's a real simple technique. It doesn't require hypnosis. Most people, they can develop that, practice it 3 or 4 times, and they've got it down to the point where they don't even have to have that conversation in their mind. They just have to load that anchor while they're thinking about the thing. The unconscious mind will know what they're talking about by then. It'll store it away and bring it back when they need it. That's a real simple trick. As for NLP, it's not hypnotic at all. It just uses knowledge of how the mind works. That's what NLP really is. Knowledge about how the mind works, how you think about things. Now it does combine well with hypnosis for more complex things. For example, if I'm dealing with stress management, and I've got someone that gets stressed out easily and they need to relax, I'll anchor that, in trance, I'll anchor that relaxation to that spot. Have them anchor it right there. Then when they're awake, they get stressed out, they can fire that off, they get the relaxation without having to put themselves in trance. If I'm working with someone who is trying to improve something, whether it's being a better salesman or a better chess player or whatever. Now chances are they did that one time exceptionally well. When they try to do it again that way, they can't. Never quite get it right after that. So what I do is take them back to that point where they did that exceptional job, where they performed really well. Have their unconscious mind recall that for them and extract the mindset, what they were thinking about, how they were feeling, maybe the physical feelings that went along with it. Maybe even just the actual thoughts they had when they went into the situation. And I anchor that there. And then when they go into another situation like that where they need to be at their peak, have them fire that anchor off. It's just like putting on a coat. They start feeling the same way, thinking the same way as when they got that top performance. Then they can go into that situation and start at that level and get even better. That's something that does use hypnosis with anchoring. Anyway, that's basically all there is to it. And I'm going to make this a short one. But being a hypnotist, I am going to give you one suggestion. Have a really, really wonderful week.